Welcome back to the Power Up Public YouTube channel. Today's video, we're talking Karting Basics 101 on how to change a steering rod. Now, if you're at the track and you're involved in a bit of a bingle, this one's going to get you out of that trouble. Because we saw it last week where someone had that exact problem and brought the car in for a repair and the wheel line was all out of place. The nut was on upside down back to front. So we thought, hey, let's make this a real simple video on how to change those damaged parts out if you're at the track. So first up, we're going to remove the bolt that holds the tie rod end to the stub axle using a 5mm Allen key and a 13mm ring spanner. So before we go any further, we're going to put the nut back on so then we keep all our washers in place. Also too, I like to make a note of things if I don't know what I'm doing. Using the smartphone, you could just take a photo of the assembly so you can see how it all goes back together later, especially if you get the parts all mixed up. Now we can remove the other end from the steering column. Same thing, using the 5mm Allen key and the 13mm ring spanner. So for the guys that didn't know, these little stepped washers go with the small diameter closest to the rose joint and the bigger diameter to the tops of the steering column bell. So with a 10mm ring spanner and a 13mm, we're just going to loosen this nut off. Now this is a left-hand thread, so it's fracture bun on one end. So that's doing it up, and this is undoing it. This is the left-hand thread. And on a Tony car, you can tell by the two flats that are on the tie rod. They're always on the left-hand end. Now to get the other end off, we have to hold the same 10mm spanner down here. And then crack this nut. To reinstall the new tie rod, spin the nut all the way to the end of the rose joint. Then you can screw in the right hand side or the right hand threaded rose joint into the tie rod. Now for the left hand thread, spinning it all backwards to do it up. So now that we've replaced the damaged tie rod with the new one, we're ready to reinstall the assembly on the go-kart. So now we're ready to reinstall the hardware. We're going to put our stepped washer facing the tie rod, put the bolt through, hold it with your finger, slide the tie rod in. You can push it all the way through so it doesn't all fall apart while you get the next washer. Remembering that the step on the stepped washer faces the rose joint. Pull the bolt back slightly. Push it down through the whole assembly. And then you can just put the nut on to hold it in place. Now we can install the outside one. Putting the nut on. Now we can do up all the hardware. So before you hit the track, you're going to need to do a wheel alignment. Now there is a couple of ways that you can do that, and we have covered that on the channel before, so check those out in the description below. So now you're ready to hit the track. If you've got any more questions, leave us a comment and we'll see you in the next video.